Alright guys, this is something that I need to make a video about because I think this is really stupid about what Apple did, and I think that to those at least that don't know about this, they should find out. What's up guys, it is I, the Apple Buyer, here today back with a brand new video for you all, and today we are doing a video on iTunes and how this is the worst iTunes update ever. I know this is a little bit of old news. I'm sure many of you have already seen and updated to the newest iTunes 12.7. It's been out for a few days now and I'm just now making a video about it, but it's still new enough and relevant enough to make a video on it because this is something that's going to affect us for forever essentially, and you guys need to know about it. Now, this was something that I didn't really actually realize until some people on Twitter started telling me about it, because like when I first updated to iTunes 12.7, the first initial thing I noticed was how they took away the little coloration here on the music thing, and they moved the little play button you see there. You see that little play button? They moved it from the right to the left and they made it smaller, and that just really annoyed me. And on Twitter, I asked about how if other people liked it because I didn't like it. Then another person said, "Rip." I'm just going off of my memory now, guys. I'm showing you screenshots. So another person said that the iTunes 12.7 took away the app section and how you can't sync apps anymore. And I was like, wait, what? And sure enough, guess what? When you get your iOS device and you plug it in, guess what? Nothing shows up on iTunes about apps at all. I'll even show you right here as soon as it comes up. You can see on here, sync in progress, no apps. You get music, movies, TV shows, photos, info, but no apps. So if you haven't already gotten the memo, the iTunes 12.7 update has removed the entire App Store section away, and you're kind of stuck out of luck. So here I want to show you guys the main differences between the two updates. There might be more changes under the hood and stuff, but these are the top 3 things that I noticed that I will be showing you side by side here. I got my sexy, crappy Windows computer here with iTunes 12.6, the update previous to this iTunes 12.7. You can tell right off the gate there you get all these pretty little colorful music icons for your albums, and then of course you do have that as well in case you do have album art. But you know, I download a lot of my music from YouTube MP3 places if I want it for free, of course. So when you do that here though, you can see right there they where is it, like this is just grayed out. It's just boring. There's no life to it anymore. And then if you look over here, I'll even get a mouse for you guys, just for you guys. See how that thing right there, that's a big play button on the right, and I was so used to that for months and months and months. And then on here, they moved it over to the left and they made it smaller. Then taking my iPod Touch first generation and plugging it into the computer here, completely recognized charging. It's going to load up on this slow hunk of junk here, and the app section will show up on this computer here, if you see. Right here, right there, the app section right under summary, right there. Apple literally had no good reason to take this feature out. I don't care what your argument is, whether you have to say, oh, well, they can do that because guess what? The newer devices don't need it. Well, guess what? Some people like myself did use that feature for the older devices here. Obviously, with the older devices, it can be a challenge sometimes to be able to download older versions of apps, and not all of us have, 10 billion iOS devices on 10 billion iOS versions. Some of us only have one iPhone and one computer, and that's all we live with. So, what I'd usually tell people, to regular people, if they wanted to download an older version of an app, I'd say, have you downloaded it before? And they'd say no. And I'd be like, okay, go on your computer, go on iTunes, download it, and then go ahead and go on your device, click the cloud icon, and it'll ask you to download an older version of the app. That's what I always told them. Now you can't do that anymore because guess what? Most people don't know how to downgrade their iTunes version unless, of course, they're already on an old version of iTunes. And on top of that, they just can't. On top of that, for the people that do know what they're doing, for these old devices. Collectors like myself, this just becomes a pain because you can't use the latest version of iTunes to put old apps on your old devices because A, you might have an iOS 3 device and flat out just not be able to download older versions of apps. So you have a bunch of folders here. I can show you my hoarded folder right here. Right here you can see all these folders, all these IPAs I have here of just pure apps that I kept on my computer, just that way I could just plug in the device, sync it with iTunes, get the apps on the device, and be good to go. But that's no more the case because they just flat out took out the feature. This iTunes update is flat out just stupid and a big fuck you to all of the people that used older devices. I would not be surprised if eventually iTunes took out the feature where you can sync music to devices, or if they just start bricking older iOS versions, kind of like how modern iTunes is with iPhone OS 1, how it just simply does not work. So this is just a big middle finger to all of us Apple users. I'm really disappointed in Apple for making iTunes 12.7. If it were just, these little graphical changes, sure, I'd complain about it, but then I'd just get used to it. That's not the case. They took out a key feature of iTunes, and that's syncing apps to your device. And that's a big feature that a lot of people used, and that's no more now. iTunes is basically just a program on your computer that you can listen to multimedia, or not listen, but consume multimedia, and then go ahead and sync multimedia, mainly music and videos, to your iOS device. I feel that in the near future that will be no more, and this will just be a streaming app eventually. They already got rid of the logo on iTunes with the iOS devices. They just put a stupid star there now. So I feel like iTunes, Apple might be killing at some point, at least the iTunes that we used to know, because, hey, they want that cha-ching, cha-ching. They would just want to be able to make it impossible to sync, banned apps or whatever, or old apps to your device. And eventually, since, the way I get all my music is by downloading it from YouTube, I'm sure they're not happy about that because they know that they can get the cha-ching, cha-ching by locking me down to only downloading from the iTunes store. So I would not be surprised if they somehow took away the whole music syncing functionality. That is my little rant on iTunes 12.7. I will have to have iTunes 12.6 on my Windows partition of this computer. I could probably just leave this computer in iTunes 12.6 like how it has been for the longest time now. I'm not even sure if this is 12.6 honestly on this computer. I haven't used this computer since like February, so whatever the last iTunes version was from February, that's what this thing's using. But it's just the same thing as what it was a couple days ago when I updated. So, I just guess I'm going to have to use iTunes 12.6 on the Windows partition of this computer. And that's pretty much it. So thank you guys for watching. Hope I didn't trigger you at all. Leave your opinions on what you think about iTunes 12.7, whether you care about it or you don't care about it, etc., etc. Tell me if I triggered the living shit out of you, or if you just flat out are as angry as I am about this. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and peace.